Hey guys, I was about to install a bearing and I thought, no, stop, get it on camera, share some tips that I have picked up over the years, and I thought I'd just share it on the channel so that if you ever need to install a bearing, you can do. Now, typically, if it's steel housing, you can just, as long as the clearances aren't too tight, you can press it in with a shop press and you'll be fine. However, for aluminium, magnesium, especially lots of two-stroke engines or cast iron, those things you really don't want to force bearings into. If you do that, at the very least, you're going to start to damage this outside or the inside, I guess, of the outside housing, and eventually you're just going to ruin that whole piece. Now, I like to use heat, and there's not one specific temperature range that you need to use. Metals expand at different rates, clearances are different, etc., etc. But I generally have found across the board with what I stick to-ish is about 185 Celsius. I heat it up. We'll drop the bearing in. As soon as the bearing goes in, we are going to put compressed air on it and we're going to cool that down as quickly as possible. At the 185 mark, this bearing should just slip in really nicely. If it doesn't, then I have got a proper bearing install tool, which doesn't put pressure on the inside race, just the outside, and I can just tap it home. But removing the old bearing, I knew straight away that it was a very tight fit when I pressed it out, so I certainly don't want to try and press it back in onto this soft alley housing here. So this is how I do it. I've cleaned it out with a little bit of this, it's just like WD-40 basically. Cleaned it out, dried it off, put two-stroke oil in there by hand, just wiped with my finger, oiled the outside of the bearing, and we're ready to go. We're going to hold it with pliers. I have, oily fingers, a temperature gun. This is just an infrared temperature gun. So we're going to keep an eye on it. And I put a little bit of, you might be able to see tin foil at the bottom. That's just a scratch, I can't get that out. A little bit of tin foil at the bottom, and that stops the heat from going all the way through and wasting heat. So we'll grab it with some pliers here. We're going to gently heat it up. Well, actually, I say gently, it's going to be short, sharp heat. And then I'll try and plonk the bearing in by hand. If it doesn't go all the way in, I've got my hammer already ready. When you work with hot and cold methods, and I don't freeze my bearings, when you work with hot and cold methods, you have to be quick. You have to have everything ready. So bearing's going to go in. If it doesn't go all the way in, I'm right ready. Install tool and a hammer in a second or two, just to make sure that sits in snug. Are you stuck? You shouldn't be. Nope. So, let's get on with it. Heat. Where are we? Oh, that's all right. Okay, we're rolling. We're rolling. You get a bit of smoke, obviously, that's fine. Just see what that is. I like to go to that 180 mark, and I will, I'd rather go a bit more and then let it drop down. We're basically there. I'm going to go touch more. Just so I don't have to rush quite as much. Now, I've got to get ready with that bearing. I'm getting ready with my cold air. That's gone right in. That doesn't need to be... That's my air compressor gone here, just over my shoulder. And then... turn that off. And that is It's still warm, obviously. But that is a bearing installed. There's no damage to the housing at all. It literally went in with just finger pressure, but I did obviously have the tool already. And as I said, that's my preferred method when I know, firstly, that the parent material, in this case, I guess it's probably aluminium, but it might not be, is soft, and also it's a tight fit. So there we go. That's how we do it. Well, that's how I do it. That's my preference, but it really depends on the situation and the circumstances. But yeah, there we go. Hope you enjoyed it. Just a quick, short, sharp video, and maybe you'll be able to implement that in the future. Same thing with any time you're doing bearing in crankcases. 4-stroke, not so much. They tend to be easy just to gently tap in. However, 2-strokes, they do tend to be in very tight, and that's where heat really comes into its own. So, all right, we can leave it there. I'm gonna let this cool down, and I'll get this machine back together. Cheers, guys.